Well, welcome, Sam. I'm Forrest Higgins with the Boys and Girls Clubs of East County. This is Sam McGovern, and Sam is an attorney here in East County, specializing in wills, trusts, and estate planning. And we're here to talk about something that I think many of our families are, maybe it's a topic that they're avoiding or they're a little bit afraid of. And it's something that I was hoping that you could kind of help us out and lay the plan out and understand what the families are getting into. What's a will? What's a trust? Can you describe that?
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks so much for having me. So, it kind of all falls under the broad topic, what we call estate planning. So planning for what's going to happen if someone is no longer able to manage their own affairs, whether they're incapacitated, whether they pass away. So kind of the most basic foundational documents are the ones you mentioned. You have wills and trusts. And wills are kind of historically, they've been around forever. A will is your set of instructions where if something happens to me, here's how I want you to divide up all my stuff. And that's basically what it is. A will can do a few more things. It can nominate someone to be a guardian for children, things like that. But really it's a set of instructions for where you'd want your stuff to go if you pass away. That is okay in some circumstances, but it's limited. So the problem is that a will, in most circumstances, if there's significant assets, has to go through the court system and be supervised by a court in its administration. So there's an asset limit in California right now for 2024, that's about $184,500. If you have an asset with no beneficiary designation, no succession plan attached to it that exceeds that amount, it is subject to probate. And we're talking about the gross fair market value. So if you just bought your house for $1 million and you owe $1,001 on it, it's still subject to probate, even if you have a plan for what you'd want to happen to your house in your will. A trust, on the other hand, kind of does the same job as a will, but it does a whole lot more. So a will just being a document, very simple. A trust is more of a contract relationship between people in three different job descriptions. You have the grantor, which is the person who creates the trust. You have trustees, who are the person or people who would manage the trust property. And then you have beneficiaries who receive the benefit of trust assets. So with a standard living trust, normally the person who creates the trust serves in all three of those roles during their lifetime. But if they were to become incapacitated, there's an automatic built-in plan where someone else could step in as trustee and manage it for the original grantor's benefit. And then ultimately, if the grantor passes away, we decide what we want to happen to the property. And because it's not just a flat document, it is a contract relationship, we can even then extend control over those assets for a period of time. So maybe we want assets to be distributed over a longer period than just one lump sum, or maybe we want someone to receive the benefit of an asset for a period of years and then it goes to someone else. So there's so much more that we can do with a trust than just a simple will.
And go back for the layman, what does probate mean?
Yes, so all of this, probate is a division of, in most superior court systems, you'll have a few different divisions. You have your criminal side of the court, you have family, which handles divorces, things like that, sort of family relationship dynamics. You have civil, which is lawsuits, things like that. And then you have probate. Probate is designed to, the bulk of probate cases are supervising what happens to people's assets if they pass away. But there's also some additional functions of probate court, like conservatorships, guardianships, things like that, for people who are either physically or legally incapacitated.
And then going back to wills, I mean, that's just a great start, a placeholder for families to begin. What's it like? Kind of give us an example of when they come into your office, how do you hold their hands to that process?
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of times, we hear a lot, like we've avoided this, it's kind of scary, we don't want to talk about it. So we approach it from, it's not planning for death, it's planning your legacy. So how can we make a plan for all your hard work to live on beyond just you? So it's, in my opinion, it's exciting when we look at it from that sense. So if someone comes in, we'll talk about kind of what assets are involved, what people are involved, what are the different considerations. do we need to plan for minor children, or is everyone grown up and everyone's a responsible adult? And then, what are we going to do with the assets? And then that leads into, okay, are we just planning for certain individuals? Are we planning for charitable organizations? Do we have tax considerations that we need to consider in making this plan happen in the most efficient way possible? So really starting from simple, who and what, and then we get into the how, and we design a plan that really works to accomplish the person's goal to just build that legacy that they want to see.
I believe it's your mission. It says we help clients preserve their legacy, keep their family out of court, and live with peace of mind. How'd you come up with that logic there?
Yeah, I mean, it's the reason we do what we do. So it didn't take a whole lot to come up with it because it's just built into why we do this. It's about, in my background, I started as a police officer before I became an attorney. So I've seen so many examples of good people working hard, and then all of a sudden something happens and everything just goes haywire. So our goal is to say, what are your goals? What are you working for? What's important to you? And how do we protect that? And how do we make sure that there's not going to be some tragic event that's going to derail everything and land your family in the court system for 1 to 18 years potentially.
Sam, here at the Boys and Girls Clubs of East County Foundation, one of the gifts that we see commonly is a bequest. Can you describe and define what that is?
Yeah, so bequest is kind of that old-fashioned term. A lot of estate planning, we use these old terms from back in the day. So bequest is one of those, referring to a gift of property that occurs upon someone passing away. So talking about that legacy and how do we make what people have worked for and accumulated, how do we make that live on? Usually that a bequest is the transition when we say, okay, now upon my passing, this property goes to this person or this organization for a greater purpose.
Is a bequest merely the property, or is it a dollar amount too, or am I mixing something? Am I mixing gifts here?
Yeah, so a bequest can be a variety of different things. It can be a specific asset, it can be a dollar amount, it can be, sometimes we have, and when we get into estate plans, we talk about specific gifts and residuary gifts. So it could be a percentage of an estate or a percentage of a particular asset. It can be all sorts of different things. It just depends on really what the person wants to see happen. And a lot of times, how do we make property transfer in the most efficient way to a certain individual or organization.
Here at the Boys and Girls Clubs of East County Foundation, we're very fortunate to have an endowment that supports our clubs, and it's been doing so for over 40 years, and it allows the clubs to not only support the kids and the programs and the services we provide, but to keep our future going, to perpetuate us also. Sam, could you also give us a description and a definition of what an endowment is?
Yeah, so an endowment is basically when we take an amount of property and we set it aside in such a way where that property is going to generate income that can be used on an ongoing sort of legacy basis to continue to fund a certain cause. So tying it all together, a lot of times we may have a bequest of certain property that goes into an endowment, and it sits there and it becomes productive. So it's generating this income on an ongoing basis that goes to fund programs or general charitable initiatives, and really continues indefinitely because we have that original principle there that's going to generate further income into the future on a really sort of unlimited basis.
All right, all this information you can find on our website at bgcec.org/foundation. Sam, thank you very much for coming today. Do you have some other information you'd like to provide?
Yeah, if anyone would like to contact us, if you're needing help with estate planning or probate issues, the best way to contact us is through our website, www.mcgovernlawgroup.com. There's all sorts of options to get in touch with us there.